This is a real-life event. March 31st, 1922. On a remote farm in Bavaria, Germany, 6 people were brutally murdered. But what makes this case darker than most is that the killer may have lived inside the house with the bodies for days, and the family knew something was wrong before they died. The farm was called Hinterkaifeck, isolated, surrounded by forest. The nearest neighbor was almost a kilometer away. Inside the farmhouse lived Andreas Gruber, his wife Cecilia, their widowed daughter Victoria, her 2 children, and a new maid who had only started working that very day. 6 people, completely cut off from the world. But strange things had already begun happening before March 31st. Andreas had told neighbors about mysterious footsteps in the snow, footprints leading from the forest toward the house, but none leading back out. He found a newspaper inside the home that no one had bought. He heard footsteps in the attic at night, slow, deliberate, pacing. When he investigated, he found nothing. He believed someone was watching them. No one believed him. On the evening of March 31st, something lured members of the family one by one into the barn. We don't know what it was. A noise? A scream? A call for help? But inside that barn, one after another, 4 family members were killed with a mattock, a farming tool similar to a pickaxe. Blunt force trauma, crushing blows to the skull. The killer didn't rush. This was controlled, intentional. The youngest child, little 7-year-old Cecilia, survived for several hours after the attack. Straw was found clutched in her hair, torn out in agony. She likely woke up. She likely suffered. Back inside the house, the killer murdered the maid in her bedroom, then 2-year-old Joseph asleep in his crib. 6 people, all dead. But here is where this story becomes something else entirely. The bodies were not discovered for 4 days, and during those 4 days, the killer stayed. Neighbors later reported seeing smoke coming from the chimney. The cattle were fed, bread was eaten. Someone had been inside that farmhouse, living there with the corpses, sleeping under the same roof. Investigators confirmed it. The animals had been cared for. Fresh food had been prepared. The killer didn't flee, he stayed. When neighbors finally forced entry on April 4th, they discovered the horror. The bodies in the barn were stacked, covered with hay, almost hidden. The scene was described as calculated, deliberate. There were no signs of robbery. Money remained untouched. Valuables were still inside. This was personal. But to this day, no one knows who did it. Over 100 suspects were questioned, former lovers, family members, neighbors, even traveling workers, but no arrest was ever made. The house was eventually demolished. The case faded, but the questions never did. Who was walking in the attic? Who left footprints that never returned? Why did the killer stay for days? Was the family being watched long before the murders? Or was the killer already inside, waiting? One chilling theory suggests someone had been secretly living in the attic for weeks, listening, watching, learning routines, preparing. And when the moment came, he moved, silently. Investigators also found something deeply disturbing. The murders appeared to have been done one at a time, meaning the others may have heard something, a thud, a struggle, a scream, and still walked into that barn. Why? Were they forced, or did someone they trusted call them? Even more unsettling, little Cecilia's autopsy revealed she survived hours after her injuries, alone, in the dark, surrounded by the dead. This wasn't just murder, it was methodical annihilation. The official case remains unsolved. The files were revisited decades later using modern forensic science, but by then, everyone involved was long dead. The killer was never named, never caught, never punished. A remote farm, footsteps in the snow, movement in the attic. 6 lives ended, and for 4 days, someone lived among the dead. March 31st, 1922, the Hinterkaifeck Murders, one of the darkest unsolved crimes in European history. And even now, the attic still echoes, but the evidence buried in silence. This is Echoes and Evidence, where every whisper leaves a shadow and every shadow demands the truth.